Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live post-game show, the last one of the season. Always a bittersweet moment when we get to the end of a season, and this one, man, was that a long one. Just FYI, I'm keeping the TV open right now just to make sure we don't miss anything interesting from the awards. Maybe I'll share it if I have to, if anything looks good. But at any rate, just a long, almost a year-long season with a huge interruption. And what can you say, man? I mean, listen, I generally like when we can have, competitive games, but, the Heat ran out of gas. The Lakers were too overwhelming. And I think that the video probably might just be all defense because it's really the defense that's the most impressive thing to me. I know Coach Vogel had really gave them credit for that in his speech just now. To get them to play defense like that was really, really impressive because I have a feeling offensively it was going to be whatever it was going to be. LeBron, AD, you got Rondo, they don't really need to worry too much about the offense for the most part, but it was like to get them to buy in. LeBron played defense in ways we hadn't seen him for a few years. So to get him to do that, and then that to permeate down throughout the rest of the team was just really, really impressive. They're going to need it, I got to tell you that, only because, next year it's going to get even harder. You got a lot of better players coming back off of long-term injuries. You got teams that are just going to get better naturally anyway. So this was a great opportunity for them to seize that title and just revel in it right now and shut teams down. I just don't know how easy it's going to be going forward with them. But the defensive presence is so overwhelming. So what I need to kind of figure out at some point is, when I go through the game tonight, tomorrow, is, the Heat looked really just bad, right? For most of that game. Like the very beginning was okay. So I now need to kind of figure out, well, the unforced errors, is that defense or is that just like the Heat, crap in the bed? It's probably a nice even mixture of both for some of those, certainly. And then at some point it just became overwhelming. The Dragic thing was really curious to me. I never really understood why. I get like a game 7 maybe, but a game 6 and you're down and it's a knockout and you have momentum as it is from the last game. I just feel like that was weird to throw him in there. And I got to kind of check on exactly when he came in now because I think that the lead kind of grew. That lead growing coincided with him coming in, which is a little bit concerning too. So, but hey, I don't know if it really mattered, right? I mean, certainly Dragic was not going to overcome what did it end up being? 30 points. Oh, I have the. Oh my goodness, where did I lost the? Great, I lost my tab with the here it is with the box score. So the end of the score was what? What's it? 103. Whoa. Oh, so they actually cut it to 13 by the end, huh? That's interesting. I kind of honestly tuned out a little bit toward the end there to get ready for this. So let's hop back into the chat. Don't forget, if you want to get me and ask the questions, let's have a nice discussion. Let's talk about what's going on right now, what's happening into the game, into the off season and whatnot. And always, if you want to ask me questions, the best way to do it is by super chat to grab my attention easily. But either way, I mean, just insane stuff. I can already hear, by the way, as soon as the buzzer went off, I'm in LA, just, fireworks going off, and, I'm sure it's going to be crazy all night, like 4th of July kind of stuff. One thing I didn't see in LA as much as we did back like in the three-peat days was the flags on the cars. But then again, I'm not even driving that much anymore, so maybe they were there. I didn't see them. What else? Oh, I also did a really great interview this morning. By the way, it's my birthday. Thanks. I did a birthday interview with Jeff Pearlman, who just came out with a book called Three Ring Circus, getting the really deep inside scoop of the three-peat with Kobe and Shaq. So that'll come out this week. It's a great insight into that team, and he actually starts even before that with Rodman trying to get on the team, and even before that with Cedric Ceballos and Eddie Jones and that team. So it's a great book. Definitely should pick it up. Three Ring Circus. And thank you, my goodness, thank you for all the birthday wishes. From Somalia. Well, thank you very much. I kind of stopped counting. I don't even want to count anymore how many years it's been, but nonetheless, it was a great birthday. Chill, of course, no one coming over to hang out really, but the best birthday gift can be, let's just get COVID gone somehow, some way in the next 6 months or whatever it's going to be. Oh, and yeah, I didn't shave today. It's interesting. Well, thank you for the compliment. So I'm just kind of scanning here through the comments to see what bubbles up and grabs me. But I mean, I don't know. I have some notes from the game we could share, but it was touching. I think part of me almost feels like, they were so overwhelming that it was almost anticlimactic. Like we kind of knew that was going to happen. But when you hear their words and you see, and you can kind of take in just how much work goes into that, it really is impressive. I mean, Anthony Davis, for all of his outward displays of pain in what doesn't seem to be terrible stuff, like battles through that and ends up becoming, playing as well as he could play in that last game. And it was just overwhelming. And like even guys like Anthony Caruso, who, I think 2 years ago, I was like, I'm not sure that guy's even like an NBA player. He was, I mean, I think who was the third best player on the Lakers? Who was it? I think Caruso gets a big argument. You have Caruso, you have KCP, and you may have Kuzma. And Kuzma was like solid, I don't know if you realize it. He ended up averaging, I mean, let's see if we can get the, I had that score, the averages for the series. Let's see if it's updated yet. It's only up through game 5, but I'll tell you right now, Kuzma has been averaging 10 points a game in that finals in the first 5 games. I don't know what he got tonight, but Anthony Caruso on both ends of the ball, it's been terrific. And really instrumental. And certainly, you know what? It's Rondo. Rondo was the guy. Yes, thank you guys. I knew you guys were going to remind me. It was Rondo, hands down. Forgive me. He was next on my list to start giving him props anyway. And what a crazy surprise in a way, right? Rondo hadn't really played much in the bubble at all. It comes in and just breaks the record for assists in a playoff series, right, or a playoff run. And just really, really impressive. Even when he's not scoring a lot or he's missing some shots, he's still setting guys up. He's really a pest on defense as well. He was another part of that defensive effort that they did. So, Rondo was huge. Like he deserves his playoff share and then some. All right, we have some super chats. Thank you guys so much. Wow, Dewan Matthews, thank you. Do you think that Butler was just too tired from the triple-double in Game 5? There's not many other ways to explain it because Butler was just out of gas, right? He just didn't look like at all the same guy. Now, that said, nobody in the Heat looked like the same team. So I don't know what happens and how you just kind of like break, They got, by the way, so Butler finished with 12 points, 5 for 10, 45 minutes. He just he didn't have it. And there's no question it was related to just expending it all, in the other games just to get there. So I get it to some degree. It's not easy to be the man, and you need to be like in shape to be the man, and to be able to do it for multiple games like that, and get to a game 6, get to a game 7. So it was rough. But that said, in the very beginning, the first 6-7 minutes of the game, the Heat got every shot they wanted. They just missed them all, or they threw the ball away. It was crazy. So I don't know. That's why we got to kind of figure out if the defense did that or it was like the offense. They just looked intimidated right off the bat. So it was really strange to me that they just weren't making the shots they were making in the other games, and that would have changed a lot of things. But once it got a little bit loose in the beginning, it just fell apart. They just could not hold it together. And then when you have blood in the water like that, the Lakers just descended upon them. And if you get an 8, 10, 11, 12-point lead, all of a sudden those 3-pointers are a lot easier to make. The lobs, the floaters, those are just easier and more natural when you have that little bit of a lead, and then it just kind of snowballs. Khalil Nixon, thank you. That was a great 3 quarters of defense by LA. What can the Lakers build on knowing the Clippers, Golden State, and Nets are coming? Great question. So you have to imagine they're probably going to try and do some upgrades to the roster, right? I mean, they'll probably find. I got to look at the. You know what? I'm remiss. I haven't studied the free agent list because it's like there's always that one guy who's like really pretty solid toward the end of his career who's like enjoying them and actually make him better. I don't know who that is. Maybe someone will tell me in the comments who that could be and who will take like a pay cut to go play with them. So I would imagine at the very least they're going to try and upgrade, across the board. And I don't even know if they're going to target a specific position. It's just going to be bringing in a little bit more talent to load up to compete because they're going to need it, I think, against the teams next year. And then we got to find out if they're going to do a bubble again. I don't know if they're going to want to do a bubble. They might have to anyway because this is coming back. It sounds like the COVID is. Europe is terrible again, and the numbers are creeping up here as they expected for the fall and the winter. So if that's the case in January, like maybe they don't do a bubble, they play in the arenas with no fans, but we'll see. So, but by the way, huge credit to the NBA itself for creating this bubble and having it work so successfully. No, they really enforced the bubble. They didn't have any infections and went off without a hitch, pretty much. But it also had to be just brutal to be away from your parent, your family. So, Rip Bronny was hilarious in the beginning. By the way, I shared that on Twitter because of course, we all saw what he was doing a month ago or whatever it was now. But I had forgotten, like, oh yeah, now he's gonna have a chance to see him in person. But let's not forget, that is legal in California, where I live. Now, it's probably not necessarily legal to someone under 18, but it's a different world that we live in now. Whereas we all had to like hide it back in the day if we were doing that with that age, and now it's not. It's so much easier. But nonetheless, I have a feeling LeBron will be upset. But don't forget, the more you make a big deal of these things, a lot of the time, like the more you make your kids want to do it, and so it's a fine balance between letting them know, unless of course you're one of those parents that likes to hit your kids, and then hey, all bets are off. you can get through them however you want, but not the way I would do it. Varun Rizbud, thank you. Best friend of the breakdown, Varun, for sure. You're always just a really valuable part of our conversation and the super chats. I can't thank you enough for being so generous. Congratulations to Lakers and their fans. Great job at the NBA with the bubble. Happy birthday, Coach. Wow, thank you. That's a triple crown right there of sentiments. So thank you so much. Right, Coach Nick with the parental advice. Listen, I got a couple of them. I have some insights. Big congratulations. The Lakers have waited a long time. But let's not forget, and a lot of the franchises have waited a lot longer and have waited forever and not gotten it. So, but 17th, I believe, is theirs. And, hey, I grew up a Lakers fan. Matt Johnson was my guy, and I loved all those 80s Lakers teams, and then, hated Larry Bird and the Celtics and that whole thing. So, I have some simpatico there a little bit, but, part of the conversation I had with Jeff Pearlman about Three Ring Circus was sort of like, the problem with Kobe and talking about him is it's obviously tinged with a little bit of, or a lot of tragedy and sadness now because of what happened in January. But if you can sort of just put it aside for a second to talk about him as a player and how that existed, like I never really gravitated toward him as a player. I'm a triangle offense coach. Tex Winter was a mentor of mine. We used to talk about the triangle all the time. I used to sort of complain about how, and by the way, Kobe complained about playing the triangle. So it's not like even, saying anything shocking, but it was interesting discussion to kind of talk about that. Now he just never wanted to be part of the triangle, no matter if they kept winning. So that was an interesting era of Lakers basketball that I had to go through when I moved to LA in '96 and watched what he describes in the beginning with the Eddie Jones and Cedric Ceballos and then into the Kobe era. So my wife's family, they're all LA Angelinos, and they were such big Laker fans, and we'd go to the games and we'd watch the playoffs together. And so I kind of lived it through them, and I always just found it strange to me, watching Kobe and watching him just rebel against the triangle so often. It was weird. So we talk about that. I'll probably drop that, tomorrow or Tuesday. So stay tuned for that podcast. So, by the way, subscribe to the B-Ball Breakdown podcast. That's going to keep going too. Jared Weiss for The Athletic is back with me, and we're doing them pretty much weekly. And he's fantastic. So you want to definitely listen in on those conversations. Okay. Javier Smith. I keep calling you Javier, but maybe it's Xavier. I don't know. HBD. How much money should Rondo be paid next year? How about that? What's HBD? I forgot. Let me see. Define HBD. I should know. Happy birthday. Well, thank you. Why don't I not know that? HBD is happy birthday. Anyhow, well, thank you so much, Javier. Xavier. How much money should Rondo be paid next year? A lot. I mean, I'm thinking that Rondo is probably not paid very much right now. Let me see here. Let's quickly get to his contract. Current contract over on B-Ball Ref is, he's already signed for next year. So he's going to make 2.6. I'm sorry, it's a player option. So he can opt out, and then either they can, I think they can then re-sign him or not. But, he's certainly, based on his play now, is worth more than $2.6 million. That's like basically the minimum, right? So, he's probably worth like 9 or 10, I would say. Remember, he's coming off the bench. He's playing 20 minutes a game. Probably what he'll keep doing. So I would say it's probably in the $8 to $10 million range. But thank you, Xavier. The Trib one, another best friend of the breakdown. Really just too generous. But thank you so much. I think the Lakers will get a better roster, and the threats in the West are the Warriors and Nuggets if MPJ grows. East Bucks with CP3. Wait, is CP3 going to the Bucks? Did I miss that, or is that that's already people just think that's going to happen? I don't think I saw that. Let me know. Did I miss that at all? Let's see here. But the Lakers, yeah, for sure. The Trib one, well, they're gonna get somebody. The B-Ball Breakdown podcast name. I'm going to give you a guess when you're asking what the name of the B-Ball Breakdown podcast name is. It's B-Ball Breakdown, or the B-Ball Breakdown podcast. Not hard to find. Type in B-Ball, maybe it'll autofill. I certainly think it autofills. Oh, and it's Xavier. Okay, thank you, Xavier. I think it's not hard to find once you start typing in the B-Ball, whatever. It gets a lot of listens. It's up there. But check it out if you want to. It's really a good conversation because you also get a chance to hear in this kind of setting where I can kind of get into more detail. But Jared brings the money every time too. So check it out. Let's see here. Where we go. So East with the Warriors are going to be reloaded again. Nuggets. I think MPJ is going to turn into KD. The Bucks with CP3 will certainly be better, and that'll really help. And then hopefully, Giannis can figure out a little bit more of the jump shot issue. And then the Heat for sure. I mean, I think that's the thing. Dragic. Everyone wants him to sign again. I don't think he's worth whatever it is. And I don't think he's going to take a lot less. So I would love to see Nunn and Hero develop, and keep Butler obviously, and let everybody else kind of develop into their roles. But find somebody else that they can bring in to upgrade a little bit. But I would love that idea of keeping those guys and letting them develop, at least to see for one more year if you can make that work. Khalil Nixon, thank you. During the offseason, Bam needs to work on an outside shot. If he was a threat to at least shoot, AD could have pinched a tent in the paint as much. Pitch a tent. Absolutely. Here's the thing. He can shoot it from 15, 16. He's good. And so what that tells me is I kind of think with his shot, I got to go frame by frame and really analyze it. But I kind of feel like with his shot, he could probably get back to the three-point line a little bit. What worries me is a guy like Caruso is a good example of someone who I just don't think the way he shoots now is going to make him into a consistent three-point shooter, because he shoots basically a two-motion shot, but the release is over his head, which is how we used to kind of teach it, right? It used to be sort of eye ridge level here, whatever. But up here, Michael, all those guys shot like higher up here. And one reason why that worked for them was because it helps them get their elbow in, right? So if I'm like down here, my elbow kind of, it's harder to crank that. But if I come up higher, then all of a sudden the elbow kind of gets more underneath, which is like this weird ideal, which we don't even necessarily need anymore, because why? We have the turn. And so when you turn more and get your hip and your elbow, it's a lot easier to find that alignment without having to be square and then cranking your shoulder and your wrist and your elbow. So, getting back to that, so that's why I feel like with Caruso, because it's a two motion up over his head here, I just don't know if he'll ever get consistent, anything over 35%, which is okay, but it's weird because that role he's playing, you would think would be the guy who's a sharpshooter, like the Kerr or the Paxson kind of role. That said, he's also so much better defensively than those guys were, that he helps in a lot of other places. So, let's get back to, so Bam needs to work on that and also be more willing to do it. And that's about it. Oh, and then he also needs to work on his post game. His post-up moves are very, very bad, and he needs to work on finishing and develop a couple more moves, how to counter, how to read, how to feel the guy. I have a really cool system where I do attack on the catch in the post. I think that would really help him because he's got really good feet. Travis O'Dean, wow, my goodness, thank you. Thanks for a great season, great videos, keep it up. Glad I can directly show my appreciation. Oh my goodness, well thank you. I feel as though the Nuggets and Heat both maxed out this year. Something tells me Golden State will reign next year. Wow. Well, the Golden State thing is going to be key, because are they going to keep Wiggins, which I think they will, and will Wiggins be the best version of himself, going into, around those guys? Probably. We saw glimpses of that. And so, and the number 2 pick, who knows what they're going to do with that to upgrade or not. So I think that they're going to be right in the mix. I don't know if I could say, they're favorites for the title. I just don't feel that way yet. And we got to find out what Steph is like, if he's going to come back at age 32, perhaps, whatever he's going to be. So let's see that. Now, did the Heat, I don't think the Heat maxed out, because I think Nunn and Hero can get better. That's one way they can do that. Olynyk is not going to get better. Who else are we talking about? Dragic is not going to get better. Adebayo can get better too. So those 3 guys. And then Robinson probably can get better as well. I mean, the guy, he is the most impressive shooter I've seen in a long time. I swear. He can just shoot it. So they have a lot of room for improvement. And it's rare, I guess, to see 4 or 5 guys simultaneously improve on an offseason and then come back and change the whole dynamic like that. But I think that could happen with the way the Heat train as well. So keep your eye on that. They could be, I'm not sure they're maxed out. The Nuggets are getting close to maxing out, and that's, the conference finals. Like that, they're getting close to where they need to be anyway, but we'll have to find out. If they don't keep Jeremy Grant, I'm a little bit wondering. I guess MPJ takes that role. But Millsap's the guy that I think they should part from and give all those minutes to, they could actually start Jeremy Grant and MPJ together alongside Jokic. I'm probably forgetting now. And I think that's actually, I'm not leaving anybody else out who should start. That would, and then alongside Jamal Murray and Gary Harris. That would be a good five, and they could build off of that too. So I think Denver has a chance to improve as well. By subtraction, Paul Millsap, and then addition, MPJ, all those minutes. The Trib one, thank you. Antetokounmpo got his first ring, first of many. He did? Got his first ring. What does that mean? And he's giving me a wink. I don't know. I don't get it. There's a joke out there, and it's flying by my head. Oh, by the way, did you notice I in honor of the Lakers, we put up LeBron and Kobe. Of course, I left Dirk up there, but I should change it. Anyway, whatever. Let's see. Khalil Nixon, thank you. What is the difference between the triangle offense and the Princeton offense? Okay, well, Khalil, how much time do you have? Because, I coached the triangle offense. I ran it in high school in my program that I ran, and I'm very familiar with the Princeton as well. So there's a lot of similarities, but there's more high post action in the Princeton than there is in the triangle. Probably the most basic version is the triangle, the very pure triangle. When you pass the ball as a guard to the forward, you go to the strong side corner, and in the Princeton, you kind of make that pass and go to the weak side corner. It kind of changes the shape of the alignments a little bit, but you end up getting a lot of the same actions there's pinch post in the Princeton offense. There's blind pig in the Princeton offense. There's a little bit more like dribbling from one position to the next in Princeton. Whereas when I taught the triangle, I used that. Like when in doubt, just dribble handoff somewhere. And they had that sort of built into the Princeton a little bit more, but they're very, very, very similar. It's a little bit more high post with Princeton than it is. But then again, the triangle has a whole high post series, and what that differs is most of the time what you'll see is what you still see now is a guard will throw the ball to the wing. He'll cut off the high post in this triangle, and then the high post screen who's screening for the. Why not just write it down for you guys? Right? Let's do this. And let me get my, let's see here, Wirecast out so I can see. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Let's do this, shall we? Oh, am I out of, I'm out of, what can I use? Do you think this will work? Let's try this. And, no? Ah, son of a gun. I don't have anything to wipe my board down. Oh, I do. Yes, I do. I have what I clean my glasses with. Let's see if this works. Probably shouldn't use this, but let's try it. For you guys. Okay, so are you ready? This is the Triangle High Post Series, which is what's, you can probably gonna do with Princeton is. So you have a, one with the ball. Let's put 3 here, and you have the 5, okay? So the High Post Series in the Triangle is, he makes the pass to here, okay? He does a UCLA cut off that 5. And then, he screens. So after he screens to the 1, he then turns and sets an inside ball screen. This is what Michael Jordan would get all the time, and then, get into the lane there. And that would be the open. Normally in the triangle, when you have the 5 here, it always makes this area clogged a little bit and harder to drive. But when you can go to the high post series, which the Bulls would do in like the second half in the fourth quarters to open that up, that's the same. Now that's the difference between like the triangle high post and the Princeton. So the Princeton would be, let's see, does this wipe off? Yeah. So the key is to wipe it off right when you do it, otherwise it sticks. So Princeton, like my most favorite action in the Princeton, they don't really have in the triangle at all, is the chin series, which is basically, you would see this. You'd see the ball dribble here and a handoff. Okay. So that's a handoff here. Then as soon as he gets to the guard spot, he would pass the ball to the other side, to another guard spot here. Let's call this, the 3. And then what happens is the 5 is up here. Once he makes that pass to the guard to guard, he cuts back door off of that center. Now, a lot of times they'll swing it here to the 4, and then after the 5 sets this back screen here, he will then flash to the middle. Now, 4, if he hits him here, boom, this guy, Blind Pig, cuts back door on that one. I hope you saw that. Did you see that? Let me try it one more time. All right, really quickly. Did you see that? Chin series. And I'm using my mask because I don't have anything else to wipe this. I'm sorry. I'll throw away. It's a disposable mask. Okay, so let's try that again. So you have 1 dribble pitch to the 3. Let's just say call it dribble handoff. Okay. Then 3 will throw it to the 2 here. Okay. So once the ball is thrown, so you have the 3. Passes to the 2. That should be dotted line, sorry. He's going to cut backdoor off of here. The 2 swings it to the power forward over there on the wing. And then the 5 will flash after setting that back screen here. He flashes to the high post. They pass it here, and then 2 slides in behind him. That's blind pick. That's what you get out of the triangle, too. So you can see a lot of the actions are triggered in the same way. It's just a question of the first alignment and then what that guard does to begin with. But they're both read and react offenses. They're both keyed on the pass, which is also important, not the dribble or not the guy cutting. So it's a little bit faster. Sometimes there are offenses that are keyed on like where the guy cuts. But this is when it's passed. So that actually speeds up the offense a little bit because you're not waiting for a guy to move in space. You're waiting for the ball, which travels so much faster, to be on its way, and you're already moving. So there you go. There's my little triangle offense, Princeton offense thing. Let's get back to the super chat, shall we? So I feel like I left off on some stuff. Okay. So there you go. Khalil Nixon. Who knew that you get an answer like that? JMoney2335. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Navito. What do you think about their NBA ratings being low? And is it due to social justice and fans don't want to watch NBA again? My name is Navito. Got it. Thank you. So I think, there's a couple different things. Obviously, the illegal streams, and you know who you are causing an issue, I suppose. They might not be, maybe they're not like, people who are watching legitimately on League Pass. I hope they're folding all those numbers in. They might not be, though, because in theory, the TV people don't care about those. Well, yeah, right, because it's like they want you to be watching on the TV versus on the League Pass to count those. So I think that might be why. But illegal streams are part of it. I would like to think that the amount of people who are going to boycott the NBA because they kneel in honor of Black Lives Matter before the games would be small. I would really hope that would be small and not the kind of thing that we're seeing it's a pretty large drop. I think it's also a weird time to be playing in the finals, and you got like football and baseball competing as well, which is not easy. I know that certainly when the football season's normally in a normal season, it always hurts my views until it's over at the end of December. So, I think that's another mix. I think it's just a lot of people segmented as far as their focus. I think that's mostly it. But you're right. If it happens into the next year, then they need to really be concerned. Like something's going on with the product and the quality that people don't want to watch. And I kind of understand it. There's enough times for me when I'm watching this season where I was just like losing interest. 2 minutes sort of threes back and forth. It gets loose and sort of pickup looking, and it's just not as intriguing to me, I suppose. Now, either we just get used to that and kind of all flock back as the game radically changes in the next 5 years, or they got to figure something out. So we're on the edge here of seeing how that's going to play out eventually. Let's see here. My goodness, a lot of these. Thank you so much. Xavier, so thank you. Thank you for the season and the podcast. My pleasure, Xavier. And I need to remember that. It's Professor Xavier and not Javier. Okay, JMoney2335. Thank you. At Lakers, Nets, or Warriors, Nets finals next year. Okay. So, Nets is a good call, right? KD, Kawhi, Kyrie, and Spencer, and everybody else. So, okay, and I have to choose between Lakers and the Warriors. Man, I might have to pick Lakers again over the Warriors. I need to see the Warriors in action again. I need to see if they've been able to reload and find that eye of the tiger again, and if they pick anybody else up and change that. I'm not ready to say that they're going to make the finals next year. The Lakers, though, I would more quickly say that, because I think I know for a fact they're going to upgrade that roster a little bit more, and that will just mean if you had to pick between Lakers and the Warriors, you're going to pick the Lakers. Christian Hall, $5. Thank you so much. Excuse me. You're so generous. Was a watching an old Ringer podcast? Oh, you were watching an old Ringer podcast a couple days ago, and Bill Simmons mentioned you. Have you ever had a conversation with him? Yeah, I've met him. I've talked to him. He lives around me, and so I ran into him at a cafe. What is time? but it was obviously last year because it wasn't January. So it was probably, whatever it was. It was right after they announced The Ringer got bought by whoever, the Spotify or whatever. So I see him, and he's always gracious. It's really nice for him to mention me. I appreciate it. House, I think, is the real fan, by the way, and we love House. Let's see, Amari Aaron, thank you so much. Chris Sarpong, thank you so much for your content, Coach Nick. First YouTuber I've ever donated to. Oh my goodness, I'm honored and well-deserved. Q, way too early prediction for which two teams will be in the finals next year. Happy birthday and hope you get some time off. Thank you so much, and wonderful birthday wishes from everybody. HBD, thank you. And speaking of time off, yes, I'm going to leave maybe on Wednesday on a road trip across the country because we can't really fly. I don't think we want to fly. I'm going to drive back to Chicago to visit my pops. So I'm going to have a little time off there and then drive back with my best friend from high school. So I will get a chance to recharge a little bit and I'll be right back into the thick of things. So don't go anywhere. As far as the prediction for which two teams, I don't know. I guess I got to go with the Nets. I like the Heat. I think the Heat can kind of come back, and reload. So I would say maybe either the Heat or the Nets. I mean, the Celtics, who knows what they're going to do. I just don't know what I feel about them right now after that loss. And let's see, the West is going to be just even more brutal. I don't know. It's so hard to repeat as it is. So it's like you can probably sort of not pick the Lakers and be okay in theory. But who else would I feel, really good about? I kind of feel like Dallas. I've been saying Dallas for a while, but I just don't know if KP can be healthy. If KP is healthy, I think Dallas could be the favorites. They really are scary when they get everybody back, including Powell and Brunson. I think those two guys really, really help them and give them the depth they were missing. So, and who knows if they do anything in the offseason, because there will be players who want to play with Luka. Cool. All right. So here we go. So thank you, Chris. Brian Lau, thank you. Coach, can you make your podcast into video on YouTube? I'd watch it. If it's like Bill Simmons. Would love to hear your thoughts on each team, how they improve. Well, here's the problem with putting a podcast on YouTube. The algorithm, hey, and by the way, here's a quick insight into how YouTube works. I go to all those YouTube, conferences. The algorithm really values videos that get watched at least 50% or more. If you put a 45-minute podcast out there, you're simply not going to get people to watch for at least 25 minutes straight. They will not do it on YouTube. It's not how YouTube works. So you're talking about like at least once a week putting up a video that's going to get hit by the algorithm, and then YouTube's going to say, well, geez, this guy doesn't know what his fans want. We're not going to help boost those views. So it's really hard. Now, I could put them on another channel and sort of tell all of you guys to do that. So that might be something I do. I don't know. Do you guys really want me to do, like, I just don't feel like podcasts on YouTube work, but maybe they do. I put my political podcast on YouTube, and, it doesn't get very many views, but we just do it to do it. So I guess I could, and oh yes, Gigolo Puff reminds me, I'm almost at 800,000 subscribers, so we got to do something for that. I don't know what, but hard to believe. By the way, I can remember just being desperate to get like probably 1,000. I can remember like, gosh, it wouldn't be amazing if I got 1,000 subscribers so long ago, and then even like 5,000. It was crazy. So thank you guys, all you guys, for being subscribers and being part of this conversation. So anyway, so get back to that. Let me know in the comments. I'll kind of peek over here for a second about putting if you want to watch the podcast. I could create another channel, B-Ball Pod or something. So I'll do, or I can do by the way, Markeith Morris is now smoking a cigar in front of the podium. I will do maybe a poll and we'll figure that out. But yeah. Okay. Noah Leaves, thank you. Big fan, Nick. What do you think about Nuggets' future? So I mentioned a little bit earlier, but I'll go through it again. I think that MPJ could be KD, and I would love to see them keep Jeremy Grant and then start those two guys around Jokic and then take another run at it. I think that they would be really good, and then Harris would be healthy the whole time. Will Barton will be healthy the whole time. They get Monte Morris. So I like that team a lot. I think that's they have a really good future. And then, Jamal Murray will continue to maybe develop a little bit more. The dude's probably like 23. How old is Jamal Murray? Kind of always forget. He seems older. It's so funny because I remember being in 2014 at this thing at the All-Star game, and it was a bunch of Canadians there. Yeah, he's 22. Canadian high school players, all like the best Canadian. In 2014, that would have been him, right? So if he's 22 now, 6 years ago, he was, 16? Yes. I remember talking to one of those guys, and it might have looked like Jamal, might have been Jamal Murray, who knows? But anyway, I was just thinking about that the other day. So if he can continue to develop, then then they have a bright future for sure. Travis O'Dean, my goodness, thank you so much. Huge Celtics fan. Third best Laker was Rondo. Absolutely. Biased for sure, but yes, Rondo is the right answer. But his on-court management, let's continue with Rondo. I credit KG for this win. Right. KG just, tortured him mercilessly, it sounds like, as a rookie and all that stuff, and he got better. I don't subscribe to that method of coaching, but, it seemed to work for him. Anyhow, but yeah, great call on that one. Rondo, was huge for them all playoff long. Khalil Nixon, thank you. LeBron's team had less percentage odds of winning compared to MJ. Yay or nay? Yeah, well, let's see. Depending on which team you're talking about, but this Laker team, pound for pound, man for man, is not nearly as good as most of the MJ teams for sure. You get MJ and Pippen, which is similar as far as impact as AD and LeBron. But I would think that Kukoc and Rodman, those guys were better than what they have now individually, but they still play like a team in a similar manner to what the Lakers did. So I think. But I guess you want to know percentage odds of winning compared to MJ. I would imagine that. Now you're talking about overall. LeBron's teams perhaps overall had less percentage. Probably they were probably less favored. I mean, this is what happens when you go up against those Warriors teams. So yeah, I think overall LeBron was not favored for a lot of those finals. The Trib one, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Like the video, give a like for the live breakdown at least. Casas Antetokounmpo won a ring. Oh yes, the brother. I got you. Yes. I'm actually Twitter friends with him. I want to see the Lakers. Oh wait, am I Twitter friends with him? Wait, let me make sure that's right. There's only one brother. He's got a couple of brothers, I think, right? Oh, I don't see it here. I know I'm Twitter friends with one of them. I want to see the Lakers trade for Zach LaVine. How about you? No. Zach LaVine and the Lakers. Well, alongside LeBron, AD, maybe that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I guess I'd be curious to see that, how that would work. But it wasn't like, I don't know, my first instinct would be like, no way. But would he be able to adjust and play a different role like that? I don't know. It's unclear to me. Brian Holiday, just a thank you to LeBron for the years of excellence on and off the court. We have to give him his flowers while he's still playing. Yes. Absolutely. I think the most I'm not sure I even love the way he plays. I'll just be honest. There's something about the way he plays that I don't love, and I gravitate a lot more toward just incredible displays of skill more than brute power. Although he does have skill too. He can handle the ball really well, and shooting was pretty good. But I do want to make sure that we all understand what kind of person he is, at least outside the court. He is the most charitable, giving person I think the NBA has seen, honestly. And so that needs to be factored in there without question. And it's always been the most impressive thing to me, how he's carried himself. He's never been involved in any kind of scandals. He's just been very respectful of the game and of the way he lives and his family. And so, I want to make sure that's pointed out, at least on my end too. The school that he built, he's helping people who they basically put a poll tax into Florida, meaning if you were a felon and you paid your dues to society and you got out, they were going to make you pay for court fees to be eligible to vote, which is complete and utter BS. So LeBron was spearheading a movement to make sure that people can cover that cost for them, and so they could vote. And that's just above and beyond. So Scruler, thank you. Is the space, small ball, freedom of movement letting these guys look Kobe-esque? Are these guys really that good? Butler, Jamal, and then who was the last guy? Oh, Dame, etc. 5 years ago, unheard of. Probably. So I guess the idea being the freedom of movement rule change and emphasis, then leads to the different kind of offenses we play now, which is a lot higher usage rate for, typical players. Whereas we would never see this many people at, approaching 30% usage rate on their teams. Now that's what the main guy does. And then, hey, there's Brian Sutterer, friend of the breakdown, Doc. Good to see you. The freedom of movement stuff certainly led to then, or something led to that, maybe the D'Antoni system as well, to like allowing players to have that kind of dominance. Whereas I'm telling you, if we look back, there might be some stats for usage. Oh, there is usage rate. You'd see the Michaels, and you see, from that era a little bit, like in mostly probably more centers, get up close to 30% usage rate, but not like it is today. So it's just changed, and it would suck. Like, let's say you were awesome as a rookie guard or whatever, and you got there, and there's a guy who's like the 5th, 6th year starter, like Dame, and then you never get a chance to get any kind of usage rate like you should on that team. It really kind of is tough. Whereas maybe back in the day, it was a little bit more balanced, and you might be able to get those reps that you wanted earlier on. But it's a totally different game. Let's see here. Homer. 234 22,000. Thank you, Coach. If the Heat let Dragic walk, what playoff team would he help? I think he would help any team he goes to. But if we had to look really quickly at all the playoff teams, let me go over to the standings here. Let's pick one. So Dragic Dragic probably could help the Bucks. You know what? And he can help anybody. The Bucks could use him. Could the Raptors use him? Probably, yeah. Is there a team that wouldn't necessarily need him? I don't know. Maybe the Nets wouldn't need him because they've got, Spencer and Kyrie. So, and LeVert. Anybody that needs a good guard. The Magic could use him. That's in the East alone. OKC could probably use him if they lose CP3, but they're not going to want to do that because they want to rebuild. I'm sure go young. A lot of those teams, the Jazz off the bench as a scorer, that would be good. Heat check. Wow, Stefan, thank you for joining. Oh, everyone knows your name, right? I hope I didn't just out your name. Anyway, Heat check. Thank you so much. Big friend of the breakdown. And wow, thank you for the super chat. I can't appreciate it more. Just wanted to give a shout out and say great job on surviving this tough season and making great videos. Thank you so much. Make sure that you guys listen. If you like my videos, you're gonna love Heat check. So definitely check him out and his channel. He probably is already bigger than me at this point, right? I don't even know if I want to check. So we want to check and see how big he is, but oh boy, sorry. Damn autoplay. Heat check. He's got 450,000 subscribers, but his video numbers, the views are all more than mine. So he's got the good thumbnails. I'm gonna have to steal some of his thumbnail designs and hope that helps for me. But great stuff. So thank you, Heat check out there for doing that for me. BB Coach JW33, I was worried that you weren't around. Good to see you tonight. Where do the Lakers go from here? Who in the Lakers roster are you most happy to see get a ring? Really great question. And thank you, Jan Michael Garay, for the little shout out there. I love the orange thing that catches my eye, I guess, if you're in the chat there. The Lakers. So who in the Lakers roster am I most happy to? Let's go look at the roster real quick. So Lakers, if I click on here, it's going to be the roster. Probably, of course not. Here it is. ESPN. All right, so who am I most happy? Well, let's see. Rondo already had one, so I wouldn't put him there. J.R. Smith already had one. Kostas Antetokounmpo was so young and didn't really play. Avery Bradley wasn't there, but Devontae Cook, KCP, Alex Caruso. Is it AD? Is it AD who was excellent for so long, and he finally puts it all together? That might be who it has to be, right? Is AD? People want to say Dwight. I don't know. I was so unhappy with Dwight and the way he was playing and being so extra physical, I suppose is the word, that I don't know. It was frustrating to me. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, he came back to the Lakers after having that horrible season with Kobe. And he really played well all season long. So he wasn't doing all that stuff he thought he needed to do in the playoffs in the regular season. So that was a strange twist. So I would say Dwight. Maybe you're right because AD is still younger and he has a chance for more. But it's got to be those two. It's nice to see that and know that they'll always be champions. And it's interesting because there is a long list of players out there who are like, what he got a ring. Like it's interesting when you look at it that way. But without question, Dwight had been in the finals and had deserved. Oh wait, he played in the finals and they lost, right? The Lakers, right? That was his team. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, that's nice to see him do it. And he sounds like a nice guy. I talked to him once, and he seemed like a very nice guy. Varun Reeswood, what rule change would you like to see next season? Probably being able to review if there was a foul on the whole play. I think what they need to do most importantly is fix the 3-point shot landing rule. They just can't seem to figure out how to consistently call landing space stuff. It just kind of is frustrating, and it doesn't seem clear to me at all what the criteria are. So go back, retrain, and make that happen, and make that better for all the referees calling that, so that doesn't become such a problem going forward. The Trib one, thank you. Zach LaVine in Minnesota was an off-ball player. He has more skill now. It will help his defense to be off-ball. I think it's a perfect fit. Yeah, I mean, will he do it? It'll help his defense to be off-ball. I'm not sure why. Why would it help his defense? Because he's like not as tired, because he's not on ball as much? Okay, maybe, but that doesn't always translate into why the defense wasn't perfect before. But I'm intrigued. I'm not saying no, but I'm intrigued by LaVine going there. I don't know. Is he a free agent, or is the Bulls have to trade him? I can't look that up. Maybe someone will tell me. Okay, more. My goodness, more super chats. Thank you. Chima, hey coach, bit off topic. Oh, and you know what? This reminds me. Where did I write it down? Somebody sent me a super chat. And right after I went offline, is it here? Spacious Grace. Are you out there, Spacious Grace? I think you're the one who did that, right? At the very end, I tried to kind of answer the question. I'm forgetting what it was now, but thank you so much. I just remembered. Forgive me. You had a really great super chat and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Generous. Thank you so much. Before I forget that. So let's get back to what we were talking about. Okay, so Chima. Hey, coach, bit off topic. Carmelo and JJ Redick were saying that the triangle offense was very predictable. Oh, I listened to that during his time with the Knicks. That is, if teams could find the two-guard front, it was over. Well, you know, no one ever said that when the Bulls ran it, right? Or when the Lakers ran it with Kobe and Shaq. I mean, I guess you could say with Kobe and Shaq, they ran the very basic version of triangle, and they were so good, and Shaq was so good down low that they didn't have to get into the other the ballet part of it, which is what the Bulls did. The Bulls ran and had countless counters and other options out of the traditional normal triangle that it was a lot harder to cover, I think. Now with the Carmelo, I mean, it's the question then would be, you know, if Derek Fisher was teaching the version that he learned from the Lakers, yeah, then it would be like the four options. That was pretty much all they ran, and they didn't have a center like Shaq, so they needed to be able to get deeper into it. The thing about that conversation, though, that I thought was interesting was that so much of what they were saying that was supposed to be negative, I was like, yeah, that's right, that's good. Like, it should be good what they were saying about it. Spacing and angles, and there was interesting, weird stuff that they were saying that was like, so I think they were looking for some excuses just to crap on it and make it sound bad. But kudos to Carmelo. He said he really tried to absorb it and learn it and impress Phil with the knowledge of it. So, you know, but then again, the difference there was they didn't have Tex. And Tex Winter really knows how to teach it. And that's been the one reason when it's gone to other places and other teams, they've never been able to recreate that success. And that's part of it, I think. And so either, you know, I spent a lot of time with Tex Winter. He was a mentor of mine. And I spent a lot of time going over that, how to teach it and how it worked. And I guess it just didn't take with some of the other guys and some of the other coaches like Rambis and Clemens. They just had a harder time at doing it. Different personnel as well. So, you know, it's fascinating. So I just found that fascinating that they were describing the triangle, and the words I was hearing like on the page sounded, oh, that's exactly right. That's great. And then to hear the end of the sentence saying it was terrible, it was bad, it was very confusing to me. Xavier Smith, thank you. Does DeMarcus Cousins have a spot on LA next year? Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they have Dwight, they have JaVale. They probably would get rid of one of those. They can't have him too, I don't think. So I think that's the question, is whether they have JaVale or Dwight or both or whatever. If they do that, then I don't think DeMarcus is going to come back. The Trib 1. Dragic lost his job to a rookie. Glad he was good in the playoffs, but don't lose sight of that. He will be a good sixth man for his next team. Bingo, exactly right. I think that's where he's now going to, you know, transition to. I mean, he's what, 33 now? Let's see, how old is he? Dragic is 33, exactly. So he'll probably be 34. When's his birthday? His birthday is May 6th. So he's 34 right now. Oh, he's already 34. Sorry. He turned 34 this year. So he'll be like 35 at the end of next year. So, yeah, he's ready to kind of transition to that. And I think he'd be a good, you know, microwave off the bench. Come in, get you a lot of points, and that would be a good role for him. The Trib 1, oh my goodness, thank you. What happened to DeMarcus Cousins? Is he a Laker? I don't think he was a Laker by the end, right? I think he got hurt, right? He was playing well for them, but like, what is time? When was that this year? Was that the beginning of this year? DeMarcus Cousins was in 18-19, played 30. Oh, wait. Why don't they have his Lakers? Wait, am I losing my mind? I could swear he played for the Lakers and they got hurt again, right? Or no, that was Golden State. Sorry, you're right. No, he didn't play. Did he sign with them? I feel like, but then why wasn't he there in the bubble? He probably opted not to be in the bubble. No, he was waived. Okay, there it is. So he signed as a free agent in last summer and then was waived in February. So no, he wasn't part of the Lakers at all, for this run. So that's what happened. They waived him in February. BB coach JW33. Is there one player that the Heat need to get over the hump next year, or do they only need in-house development? I love the story of in-house development only, like to see that. They don't do that anymore. They just say, we're going to bring somebody else in and just skip to the front of the line. So I would love to see him do it that way developmentally. Obviously, Tyler Hero, oh no. So everyone's outside Staples in this big group. Are they wearing masks? I hope they're wearing masks. Please tell me that you're wearing masks. It's hard to see. I'm looking at the helicopter view, but please tell me. Nonetheless, so I would like to think that they do it by development and not like disrupt all the chemistry. But Tyler Hero is a good example of a guy who like showed promise, didn't seem intimidated, but then was intimidated. I mean, he shot an air ball on a floater that just looked like he just was uncomfortable. But it's a great experience for him. And so he should come back hardened, having that experience, and then be much better for it, none as well. So I think that they might end up, going that route. They can't quite get a good deal they like. They're not going to be sort of pressed to do that, which is nice. Let's see here. Khalil Nixon, thank you. Rule change. If a replay is correctly challenged, the team can challenge again. Yes, I like that. Only having one challenge doesn't seem to reward a correct challenge. I like that. Isn't that how they do it in the NFL? I don't like to reference the NFL, but I'm pretty sure that's how they do it in the NFL, maybe. Let's see here. I have a good question over here. I'm going to try and save, but let me get through the rest of these super chats. My goodness. Darius XN. Do you have any videos in the triangle offense? Do I have videos in the triangle offense? Of course I do. Or know any good resources? I did a two-part series explaining the very basic first four options, which is what the Lakers used to win the title. So you can look it up. I mean, let's see here. Can I do this really quickly? Let me see if I can find that. I'll get you the link for the triangle. Let me see if I type in triangle part 1. What happens? There it is. Okay, so how do I get? Okay, here it is. Copy a link. I'm going to put it in the chat. Here is part 1 of triangle offense. There you go. So check the chat and you'll see that link. And then there's a part 2 that should be linked to that as well. Let's see here. Marcus Powell. I'd like more coaching breakdown videos. You did one last year about a March Madness coach ripping into a freshman, maybe on the pod. Happy birthday. Thank you. Yeah, that was the one on Tom Israel when I brought in people talking about communication and stuff. I thought it was a really good, like a mini documentary. It was like 30 minutes. You definitely should look up like, on my channel, Tom Izzo. It should, come up. So I'd like to do more of those as well. I mean, I have a whole library that we have, for on a market you can buy coaching videos as well through CoachTube, as well as BBALLBREAKDOWN.com. But I would like to do more of those and try and just help more coaches understand more about the psychology and about the communication and how important that is over X's and O's, or as equally important as X's and O's. I kind of touched upon it in the last live show, but just the idea that because we now understand how the brain functions in the face of anger and disgust, particularly from someone that you respect, like a coach, and we understand how that affects performance. And if we can get to the point where the goal of a coach should be to get his players to play as well as they possibly can, then you would never want to display that anger and disgust in the middle of the game. That would then trigger certain chemicals in the brain to then diminish their ability to play at their best. And so the more we can get that across and understand and give better methods to, vociferously and passionately make your point so that the player doesn't make the mistake again or whatever that is, the better that your players will play. And that's a really important thing. I also feel like this notion of play as hard as you can is important, but how are you supposed to shoot the ball comfortably and in rhythm if you're just a tense ball of, fury flying around out there. You need to be balanced and loose and rhythmic. And it's harder to do that when you're playing with smoke coming out of your ears. So there's also that kind of, that sort of fake hard play that we need to kind of temper. Obviously, on defense, you can get away with that because you're not shooting a basketball in the midst of all that. But it's also then hard to, so you want to be able to balance that out where you can be all out and really using, your muscle tension to explode and run as hard as you can. But then on the offensive end, still be loose and rhythmic so you can, dribble and you can pass and you can shoot. Let's see here. Rahul Lukan, thank you so much. What's your take on LeBron shooting a career high nearly 60% in his now 10th finals? How long can he keep going like this in your opinion? Is that what he ended up shooting for the whole finals? Really? Let's see that. Let me go back to the, did I lose my page? How do I get back to the finals? Oh, hang on for 1 second. Let's check that out. I want to look at that. So finals series stats, boom. Okay. And they don't have game 6 yet. What the heck? Well, let's see. For the game 5, maybe I'll go on the other one. His field goal percentage is 58%. That's amazing. And he shot this is through 5 games. I'm assuming he shot really well tonight. And he was shooting 45% from 3. Really? Wow. It didn't feel that way at all. Now, that said, he was shooting like wide open threes. So again, he's so good going to the basket. You want to, beg him to shoot threes. So he was open on a lot of those. But then again, he also nailed a bunch that were pretty deep. So the question is, how long can he keep this going? So, we're seeing a lot of signs of, the slow, deterioration of his game, right? We're seeing times when he goes to the basket and he just misses, or he can't handle a little bit of the physicality and he misses whatever. It's not like it used to be where he just dunked people with his teeth, and so we're seeing that. But I would love to see him just improve his post game, improve his footwork, improve his post game, add a couple more moves, and then continue to work on the 3-point shot and continue to make that work. He can do that for, I would say, at least 2 more years, right? I don't think he's going to be able to play with Bronny. I don't think that's going to happen because Bronny just finished his sophomore year, so he's going to be junior. So you're talking about junior year, senior year, 1 year in college, and then I don't know if LeBron's going to make it for 4 more years. I would say 2 easy. No problem. Let's see. I did see a good question here from Munib. Hey, Coach, what do you think the Rockets need to do to come back better next year? They have to like each other more. I think it sounded like it really just devolved from that standpoint. I do think that they need to find another better player. I think that Russ might be. Actually, that's not true. Russ did play well for a lot of the season, so they need to get him healthy. And then they need to get another solid NBA player. Whoever that is, I don't know. They need to upgrade. That third player needs to be better, and that will really help. They could try small ball. There were moments when I thought it worked, and it certainly wasn't like the killer of it. So, but they need to find one more guy who probably like the 3-and-D guy who's a little bit better than what they had. Like a Daniel House was sort of that guy, but like somebody better. N Stark, so 007, thank you. That was the smoothest triple-double I've ever seen by Bron. Everyone said Antetokounmpo would get a ring this year. They just bet on the wrong one. Ha, yeah, right. Yeah, it was the smoothest triple-double. Sure. I mean, it was effortless. And, I really, it just happens. The Heat just sort of ran out of gas, I guess, is the answer to that. They just weren't the same team. And I suppose it happens. You hope it doesn't happen like in the closeout game. But they couldn't do anything about it. And I think Spoelstra probably could have done a little bit more. He could have tried to play a little bit of zone. He could have gotten Olynyk in there earlier just to try some other things. And I don't know what happened. I guess he just sensed that was going to be it. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that in the beginning, in the first half. Edwin Janice, thank you. Hey, Coach Nick, much love from Canada. Right back to all the Canadians. Where do you think the Warriors will end up in the West next year and Nets in the East? So the Warriors will be really good, I think. So I think they're going to be top 4. I just don't know if they're going to, be elite like they were. Obviously, they're missing the KD aspect of it, but they have, Wiggins, who's going to be good and probably the best of his career. So I in top 4 for sure, with a chance to be like top 2. I think they could probably challenge, but right now I would say top 4. Now the Nets in the East, they should compete for the number 1 spot. That should be their goal, and that should be where they'll be for a lot of that season, I think. Khalil Nixon, thank you. My gosh. Skip Bayless talks about the pandemic break helping LeBron. I like what Chris Broussard said about all the teams having that time off, and because LeBron is older, it would be harder for him. Somebody had given me another piece of that puzzle as far as because it was longer, it was harder for him, and I'm kind of now forgetting what exactly that was because it did make sense a little bit, but I don't know. I think playing in the bubble and not traveling, getting on planes and up and down, I think it helps everybody, including LeBron. I think playing in the same arena basically the whole time was also very helpful. Shooting wise, you just get really comfortable with the surroundings. So I think that was, if you wanted to put an asterisk on anything about the bubble, those are the things that are important, or that would give you a reason to do that. But I don't know. I mean, to me, it would feel like, he wasn't worn out at the end of the season like he probably would have been in other seasons past, having to play 82 games into the playoffs. So that really helped. I mean, you would have thought it would help, like, James Harden as well, and I didn't really do that either. But so I don't know. I think I don't know if it was harder for him because he was older. I think it was easier for him on that end. I think he was happy to have that break. Derek, what do you think about Jamal Murray being comparable to a prime Deron Williams? That's a good call. Yeah, Deron Williams, people have forgotten, man, that guy was sick. He really could embarrass you. So that's a pretty good call for Deron Williams. Oh, geez, sorry, I'm watching a car do donuts in the middle of a crowd. It's a new thing in LA, by the way. If you live in LA, especially in my neighborhood now, they were taking over an intersection here and just doing donuts for like 15 minutes, and the cops would do nothing. It's very, very strange. I guess, is it a Fast and Furious thing that I never watch those movies, but very, very weird. Nonetheless, it's happening now. I almost feel like I want to show you guys, but whatever. Unless you tell me right now in the things you want me to throw up the TV footage of this Channel 7 News. It's an Oakland thing? Okay, interesting. All right, where would we leave off? So, Derek. Okay, there we go. So Deron Williams is a good call. Thank you. Great question. The Trib one, LeBron can easily make it 4 more years. He won't be like this, but he'll most likely be better than the league average. Will Bronny make it? Is the question. I think Bronny's on his way. I mean, the way he looks now, I think he's probably better than LeBron was at that age as far as like shooting goes. So he's like, and he's going to have the much better training than LeBron did. But he's a different size. He's not that he's going to be a 6'5" guard or something. But 4 more years. Let me meditate on that for a second. 4 more years. I say, maybe. I'm not still not sold on 4. Maybe 3, and then maybe 4. Okay. Mohid Khalid, thank you. Or Mohid. I think it's Mohid. I don't know. Let me know. Khalid. Is LeBron better than Jordan, Kobe now? What's your opinion? He's better than Kobe. And I just don't know if I'm ever able to put him above Jordan. Like if Jordan's 1A, he's 1B. He's as close as he can possibly be. Different players, it's kind of really hard. There's some skills that Jordan had that LeBron didn't have. There's some physicality that Michael Jordan didn't have that LeBron does. It's just sort of, that Jordan would never be able to have. But it's as close as possible he can be. Brian Holiday, Dwight Howard finally gets his ring. What do you think is his legacy? Yeah, it's a nice redemption for him. I mean, there's no question he was on the way to being out of the league for good. In fact, it was almost surprising. I think the latest place was where he was in Atlanta. I had heard that was it. They were going to get rid of him, and that was it. He was not going to get back into the NBA. So, it was a lot of work for him to convince the Lakers that he could do that. So that really deserves a lot of credit for that. And I think it will help his legacy. I think he will go down now and more fondly remembered for his Superman impressions in Orlando, and then getting the ring now, playing pretty well for them. So, and then by the way, he can keep going. He might play another year or 2 or 3 if his back holds up. I, by the way, did the video on that before he got to the Lakers, and showed why he was a lot better than it looked, wherever he was last. I want to say it was Atlanta. Was it Atlanta or was it like Washington? Where was Dwight? He kind of bounced around there. I'll tell you right now. Before the Lakers, in Washington. So it was Atlanta and then Charlotte and then Washington. So I remember showing in Charlotte and Washington some of those clips where he actually was a lot better than they made him out to be. So it wasn't surprising to me that, he came in there and did well for the Lakers. How can Dwight play 3 but LeBron can't make it 4 more years? Did I say that? Well, let's see. I mean, as far as age goes, You're right. I shouldn't put Dwight longer than LeBron. That's clear because Dwight's got much more serious issues, at least back-wise, which he didn't seem to bother him, and maybe he's cured them. So that would still be an issue as far as history. So you're right. I can't put Dwight playing more than LeBron. So let's just say 3 years for both of them, and then they both retire and move to a golf course together. What else do we have here? I know. So I started. I must have had about 10 minutes of my freeze frame in the beginning. So we're getting close to an hour. But as I wrap up my birthday, I'm so happy to be here with you guys on my birthday. This is great. What do you think the Rockets need to do to come back? Okay, I think did I already answer that? The Rockets? I think I already answered that one. Oh, okay, another super chat. Thank you, KD spread 0. Hey, coach. A lot of my friends had Bam as the best player on the Heat. I still think it's Jimmy Butler. That being said, how will the Heat do next year? I mean, I think the way Jimmy Butler played across the series makes him the best player they had. I mean, he had 2 all-time great finals games. Game 3, I thought was a top 5 finals performance of all time, and then he was better in Game 5. How will the Heat do next year? Yeah, I think they're going to get ready. I think they're going to in-house develop and get better, and they will be really, really good. And they're already, we know, well coached. So just watch for them to be right back where they were. I think they're going to continue what they did and really have a strong push to get back to the finals. How do you watch basketball? I don't see all the things you do, but would like to improve my understanding of what's going on. Well, the TiVo is a really great way of watching basketball for me. It might drive your friends crazy, but I constantly will see something and I'll jump back to watch it again. Like, okay, how did that happen? What did I miss? What was going off ball? Because you get to mesmerize on the ball. I find myself missing a lot of the highlights because I'm watching off ball live, and then I have to go back and watch. Oh wait, what was the highlight he did that actually led to the score? Because I'm busy watching. What was going on the weak side or under the basket. So that's a good way of doing it as far as when you're trying to study and learn it. It kind of becomes like the Matrix where, to me, I'm like looking at the Matrix thing, but I could see the stuff going on, and it just takes time and focus and energy to do that quickly. And also one thing I tend to look at a lot is the alignments, like in the offense. Okay, what are they running? Horns, or is it a high post split, or is it pistol, or 2-guard front, or that kind of thing. That I usually kind of make a mental note right away of that. If I was coaching on a bench, you would also be looking at that because now you're trying to figure out defensively. Well, what can we do to adjust to take away something that they like to do a lot? Should we deny that pass to the wing, here, or should we not let it go to the elbow there, or let it go to the elbow and then deny across everything else? Those are the things, which is why when you're coaching your defense, you need to make sure that they have a lot of variability of training to learn, when to help one pass away off of like bad shooters, or to stunt, or to deny, or to position yourself differently. So those are all really important things. Don't forget my mantra on the most important thing about man-to-man defense is move in the direction of the ball. If you teach that and drill it into your players' heads, they will tend to be in the right position all the time. And if they don't, then that's when you get beat over the top and you get beat, to the basket. So, and then won't be any help. But I always ask that when I'm building my defense, and everyone's like, "Oh, stay between your man and the ball." I'm like, "No." They're like, "See man and ball." I'm like, "No, that's not the number one thing. The number one thing is move in the direction of the ball." And I don't see enough coaches teach that. I saw it with Mike Dunlap at LMU. I watched some practices, and he did it, and that was great to see. So let's see here. So thank you guys. Oh, some more birthday wishes. My goodness, thank you so much. It really makes me feel great. Nick Coulter and Brody Sundheim, thank you. How do you think the Knicks can improve? Just curious because I'm a diehard Knicks fans. Let's see here. The Knicks need to improve by getting more NBA players. Okay, that's one thing. I mean, I feel like, let me look at their roster real quick. Oh, and then we got a quick super chat here. If it's actually your birthday, happy birthday. Happy to be part of the breakdown. Yes, BB Coach, it is actually October 11th is my birthday. It always has been. And back to the Knicks. Let's look at the Knicks roster real quickly because now I'm forgetting. I like Frank, although they might trade him, it sounds like. But where's the Knicks roster? All right. Okay, so let's go by minutes played here. So Julius Randle, Marcus Morris is not there anymore. RJ Barrett, Elfrid Payton. Wait, did Elfrid Payton, he got traded, right? He's not, didn't he go somewhere else? No, okay, he just got hurt or something. He only played 45 games. Okay, Yeah, they just need to do improvements across the board. I mean, I'm watching Mitchell Robinson practicing his threes, and I don't know, that form did not look good to me at all, and the way they were training him did not look good to me at all. Kevin Knox regressed big time. I had high hopes for him, so they just need to draft well. I'm assuming they have their draft pick, right? And they get a little bit lucky on that, and they need to bring in they're still really heavy on the whole power forward thing, which is a problem. But I don't know. It's a long haul, and with the current ownership, I don't know if that culture ever changes enough to yield success. I hate to tell you, but right now, yeah, they just need better NBA players, and we'll see. Thibodeau will probably get more out of them without question, so that will help, and they'll improve on their 24-game win. How many? 24 games? 25? What do they win? They're 21 games. So they'll improve on 21s. They'll get 30, I'm sure. So that'll be something. Andre L., thank you so much. I am in. Let's see. D. Goggins. Why don't more teams go at LeBron directly? He's clearly trying to take a break on defense sometimes. I agree, and I was saying that before, and Jimmy Butler was doing it, and you saw what happened there. They had to switch AD onto him. And AD didn't do that much better until tonight. So I think that they're intimidated. I think, it's LeBron James. And he is, you have to come up with something to score on him. But, but he'll also switch and not necessarily play that guy who's going to go after him. And so it would be out of the ordinary offense for whoever he's guarding to do that. And that's the one way he does it, But there needs to be ways when you're throwing lineups out there to guarantee that he has to guard the guy that can go at him. And you go at him. There's no question that should happen now going forward. And I think it will as he gets a little bit older now. And it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. John, thank you so much. Coach, this question may have been asked. Who would be a key acquisition in the offseason knowing that teams will probably be preparing for the Lakers next season? Is Denver still a threat next year? So I think Denver is definitely a threat because I think Michael Porter Jr. will take another step and be better. And he should just take Paul Millsap's spot, and they should probably let Paul Millsap retire or whatever he's going to do. So who would be a key acquisition? Millsap, had he been better in this playoffs, I would say would probably be a nice acquisition for the Lakers off the bench. But I would say they would probably, Zach LaVine is certainly position-wise does seem to represent like what they could upgrade, there. They could definitely upgrade in the backcourt without question, someone like that. So that would probably be what they're looking for sure. Charles Cowling, thank you. Who do you think was the more important third piece for the Lakers, Rondo or KCP? Rondo. Oh, wait a minute. KCP was really good too. Wow, that's an awesome question. And it's really close. I might have to go with Rondo, but they both played excellent defense. And KCP was really unheralded for what he was trying to do, chasing around and expending so much energy there. And then still hitting tough shots and looking good on offense. Rondo was like just throwing dimes all over the place. Let's look at the stats really quickly. Let's go to stats.nba. Let's see if they have the whole finals. Teams, all teams, Lakers. Let's look at the, players, playoffs, finals. Okay. So, they have them all updated already. So what we have here is Rondo, basically 9 points, 5.5 assists, 5 rebounds, and he shot 33% from 3. Let's see here. And then we have KCP, who 13 points, 2 assists, 2.2 rebounds, and he shot 30% from 3. Yikes. It's really, 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 really close. I'm going to give it to Rondo. I'll go with Rondo. But that's a tough question. It's a tough choice to have to make. But that's a really good question. But yeah, I think Rondo, and we already said that earlier in the show. We'll give it to Rondo. But you know what? KCP deserves a lot of consideration. And, Caruso too, but Caruso was more in that subtle off the box score way as well. So again, credit to Coach Vogel for putting his team on the right track where, it's not easy to be a role player around LeBron sometimes. And he was able to make that all seem to facilitate that really, really well. And all the credit to him for doing that. And that's what happened. That's why. And then their defense was so good. Okay. Well, listen, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up, man. It's been, an hour and 20 since went live. I don't know. It's getting late. So thank you guys again for everything you guys have been doing as part of this season. I will be taking a quick break for like a week and a half or whatever. I'll do a breakdown for this game, I think, tomorrow, or I'll do something for tomorrow. And then I'll be right back at it. So, Don't go anywhere. Keep that notification button going. Keep your eyes open on the community for any announcements. Keep your eyes open on Twitter. I'll be there too. And then we'll start to worry about membership. I'd like to maybe try that over the offseason, see how that goes first, and then hit the ground running when the season starts. So let's talk about that a little bit in the community as well as we go forward. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, awesome post-game shows. I got to make sure I do more of these throughout the season going forward too, because they're so great. And I can't believe it, the last time of this season, but not the last time this year. We'll be right back. We'll be back when I get back. Don't forget, sports fans, that B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?